So going back to as you were saying there, then yes, they don't even know what they're doing with their pay-per-views. You like we used to have a show which was what was it?
Bragging rights.
Bragging rights. Bragging rights should have been that show. Bragging rights was Raw versus SmackDown, Champ versus Champ. That should have been the one. I always like Survivor Series being different because it's where Raw and SmackDown got to blend and you get to rejoin your old tag team partners and that. Those stuff should have happened. If you're listening, Hunter, we'd love to see it back. But more importantly, then you were there during WrestleMania time when the word has come out that Vincent Kennedy McMahon is back in the business. Also, another thing that Big Toe just dropped his head there for anyone on pod. But also another thing that we have lived by as the ministry was, again, Nick said, fuck Triple H. I would never say that, but it was, let's wait till after Mania. And this is the thing. We've all said it. There is no turning back. We'll all go back to it. Mania was the deadline. I was quite happy to a degree that Roman retained, but let's look at the product now. Has it improved? Are we seeing those changes? It's a bit difficult that Vince is now back and the world is all over, but to your credit, Big Time, so I'm going to let you take this first. You said this is one of the best Raws you have seen in a while. What is your views on the current WWE product?
Well, again, it's very hard to gauge whether, Vince is in charge, if he's actually behind the scenes, actually running things as he was. I mean, the rumors was that he was not Raw, so maybe that's why that Raw was actually good. Yeah. But I'll tell you what I liked about this Raw. You basically you had like all of the gangs in it, the main gangs in it of WWE, the main factions, LWO, Judgment Day, Bloodline, and like Sammy and his crew. Yeah, all come together to clash. A nice blending of the storylines in a way that made sense. You see people multiple times throughout the night. It actually did remind me of the old days of the Attitude Era, where you basically would start off the show with Austin or something in some angle, and then Undertaker and Kane are fighting at the end, but then somehow that's dragged into Austin and Rock storyline. It was kind of like that. I mean, it did suffer from a lot of the same issues that Raw faces, like multiple repeat matches. Like, why are we doing Austin Theory versus Bobby Lashley again? There's just no need for that at that point. Yeah, and this is where WWE really falls behind AEW. They give us new, fresh matches. Even if it's heel versus heel, face versus face, we see it all the time. Yeah, but with them, we've gone back to Theory versus Lashley. Why? Yeah. Well, also, I'm happy about them trying to do something with the girls tag team division. Yeah, it's not very good, but they're trying. But I don't know if Vince is back. I think it's too early to tell. Yeah, I think some people have lost a bit of a destination. Yeah, like Austin Theory, what's he doing now? Yeah, he's the champion, but no opponent, no feud. Yeah, and also for Sammy, KO, and Riddle now, how much more can you drag out the bloodline feud with them? Yeah, it comes to a point. I think they'll probably end all of these at the upcoming draft. I think that would be their reboot, and then we'll see.
Interesting. Leon, as an avid viewer.
Yeah, I kind of really can't say anything as much as Tone said, really. It's pretty much the same thing. It's a little bit too early to tell. I will say though, since that little shake-up, there has been an effect, and it's visually obvious. That first Raw after WrestleMania, it's noted as the worst Raw of all time, the worst Raw after WrestleMania, post WrestleMania of all time. And that's saying a lot, given it goes all the way back to 1995. Like, that's saying a lot. The worst Raw of all time. If you think back to how many Raws we've seen after WrestleMania where things happen, I'm currently watching Raw 2006, 2007. And that was the first part of it that I started watching was just after WrestleMania where Umaga made his debut. And I'm telling you what, it was just non-stop, just stuff happening, things happening, and it just made me want to watch the next episode and the next and the next and the next. I ended up watching the whole year just because of the content and the booking and how good it was. It started to get like that when we knew Triple H took over, but then since whatever happened with the takeover and Vince, obviously we felt that then we felt that sink, and it's like they're now just about keeping their head above water. It's just starting to get a little bit better, like as if Triple H has taken the reins. But then there's certain points that happen on those shows where you're like, oh, has he? Could he be telephoning in certain things? Apparently he's making suggestions, and whether they go with it or not, I don't know. You know, that's another question that could be asked. But I could come up with 1,000 theories, but Big Tone pretty much hit the nail on the head there. I think it's a bit too early to tell. It needs a couple of weeks, if not like a couple of months, to see where it goes from there. And as Big Tone also said, I think we will see after the draft.
Then I'm going to ask you, because Leon alluded to something that you actually witnessed firsthand in person. The worst Raw in the history of WWE. And again, I think 1990. Leon said 95. I think it's 1993 is how far back Raw goes.
Oh,
You have been to many a WWE show, many a Mania, many a Raw.
Many nights after WrestleMania.
Yeah. Yeah. How did that feel to you? So here's the thing. Considering Vince was on his way back, it's a bit of a two-pronged question here. What was the vibe from people and in the arena as a Mania under Triple H versus what the world felt and was acting like, and your feels of a Vince Raw return?
Right. I give you this. Americans love the bloodline, but everyone felt like that should be the night the bloodline loses everything. Everyone kind of felt that was what's meant to happen. So the next morning after WrestleMania, everyone was we left WrestleMania on a down. The entire atmosphere, even though people were cheering like, yay, he won, but it was like, but should he have? I say it felt like a down all the way through the night before. Next day, there was no real hope, but let's see what they do. And then when it came out, it started with a Triple H speech, and we're like, because we already start seeing the news, like, Endeavor has stepped in and they've merged. They've bought WWE and they've merged it with the UFC, and it's a big thing like, shit, Vince is back. So that was instant reaction. Oh shit, Vince is back. Vince is back. Everyone's feeling like crap going into the arena. Triple H came out, gave a big epic speech about sold out nights. And so like, this feels like a goodbye speech. So I started saying like everyone around us, like, is he going? Is there something happening that we don't know about? Because it was just a lot of things happening, certainly. And then the night begun. And then it was just like, okay, let's see what happens. There's going to be a tag team match. They're going to rebuild Cody Rhodes. Brock, okay. You can't trust Brock. He's going to beat him down. It's going to be a burial. Shit, it's going to be a burial. And then it was nothing but promos, and then quick matches and promos. You know what it's like when you watch it on television and you have the commentators. You get the buzz and you get the backstage stuff. You're sitting in an arena. People around us, we just started having casual conversations. We weren't even paying attention to the ring. There was a match going on between the Street Profits. Had a match on that night, and no one cared. Then you had back and thing, the women tag team. Raquel, came out. Who should have won on Mania because they've been winning ever since. I don't understand how they lose, but then now they're the champs. Don't matter. Let them do the booking. They came out once again. No one cared. Everyone's having a conversation about everything else apart from the match. The crowd was dead. It was just like, just get over and done with. And then the ending happened, and it ended like this. Roman grabs Cody, does the F5, and the crowd shocked. And then it was like, they are truly burying this guy. That's it. They don't care. It's done. Roman's gonna be champ for the rest of their life. He's not gonna be the one to win. Then the conversation while the beatdown was happening, the conversation was like, who beats Roman? It can't be anyone in the roster right now, because if anyone in the roster beats him, it's not special. Who beats him? And it was like, no one cared about the beatdown. The beatdown was happening, and we're just having a conversation. It wasn't as hype as you think. It was just so dead. And then that finish,
beat down for nothing.
Roman went away, came back, gave the double salute to the down, and then Cody walked up the side. I know usually you're meant to cheer the. You know what, Cody?
The hero.
You're gonna be doing good. People just got up and said, "All right, cool, it's over. Let's walk." No one cared. The room, the entire arena was just like, just get the hell out of here. We came out, and then was like, when they hit the main thing everyone cared about, oh, why is LA so cold at night? Let's get out of here. There was no what we're going to happen next. No rumors about what happened next. There was no crowd chanting for this. There was no beach boat happening. There was nothing. It was a standard Raw in a standard backwater town that no one cared about. It was dead. No cash in. No, there was one surprise. One surprise, which was good. Riddle came back and was like, "Oh, Riddle's back." He was out for like a few minutes. And what the dumbest part? Sicko came out. Whoa!
Yeah,
whoa.
that was terrible.
He came out. He sung. You can see they went to an ad break. They sung all the way to the ad break, and he walked out the ramp and went, "Why?"
I can only imagine what that must have been that night.
When he walked up, everyone looked at each other and went, "What happened? That must have been a mistake." He came out, it must have been a mistake. But it's live, so it was. I've been to go back in the past. I'm sorry to keep talking everyone else, but went back in the past. I was there when Shawn Michaels retired, and he gave a speech, hugged Triple H, said thanks to the audience. But on the same night, Jack Swagger also cashed in and beat Jericho to become the champion that same night. The crowd was riled. They were crazy. This was after 26. After 25, everyone went nuts. It was just, the atmosphere was buzzing. But the reason why Raw was such a downer, two things. Roman retained, Cody didn't win, and then everyone found out Vince was back.
Out of interest, before I go any further, was anyone slightly excited at the idea of Vince McMahon coming back?
No one. Do you want to hear it? Mania. Everyone stated.
No.
Vince, did you hear Vince is backstage? Yeah, he's backstage. He better not come out. We know if he comes out, he's going to get booed nonetheless. He's horrible. I can't stand that guy. I hope he doesn't come out. And then you hear his son music come on, and everyone popped and everyone went crazy and went, wow, the American fans are crazy. Sorry, my American fans over there. Sorry if y'all watch the show, but y'all need to watch some wrestling, because what? I bet you if you hear No Chance at Hell, the place would have gone crazy. They wouldn't have booed. Even though no one wanted him there, they wouldn't have booed.
I have to be honest.
It's the same as when Real American comes out. And people are always going to cheer that. Yeah.
What happened? I give you what's it called again? Cena. Back when Cena was getting the boos. When Cena come out, you get the Cena pop of his music hits. The crowd goes, "Yay!" Now it's time to boo you. They don't dislike the man John Cena. They dislike the character John Cena. Vince, people respect him for what he did for wrestling, but they hate him for what he did to wrestling.
Yeah.
And he's a freaking, just go away now, man. I know when he retired, it was a bigger shock. How long did that last? He came back. He got the company joined. He tore up the flipping. You could tell that the script was ripped up several times. People coming out, people doing nothing. The losers from one night are the winners of this night. There's a tag team match against someone that no one cares about them to be. It was just all over the place. The big guy came out and just, I can't remember who beat up, the big tall black guy. Came out almost. came
Wasn't
out,
it Dolph? Yeah, he squashed
came out,
someone.
did a match, beat someone, walked away, quick. We're like, oh, so what was the point of the WrestleMania match? It did nothing for him. It did nothing for Brock. There's no story. There's no points. There's no moments. It's just nothing. Oh, God, it was so dead back. And I still gave them my money for it. I hope you enjoyed it, Nico.
So here's the highs and lows for me of going into it. It's funny that the frustration behind the Roman thing, because I understand it from the way you actually sold it to us then. And we had to stop and think. Cody had just come back. And I think it would have been detrimental to Cody to become champ too early. It's the right Mania moment, but I think even the beatdown from Brock builds the champ because he will take out Brock. But to hear that the fans didn't care, Leon, you're going to enjoy this one. The disrespect, because that is deep. Like the beaten down, to build a storyline, the crowd didn't care. That's kind of deep. But here comes my question onto the whole situation of what we can look forward to, because we're all saying like maybe it's too early. Backlash is just around the corner. Now is the time that we should be looking at building more stars. Now you've got Riddle who's returned, and I understand he's got a feud with the Bloodline. That's kind of how he went out. But it seems an odd pairing with him and the tag team champs, because for better or worse, the tag team titles should have been a rematch and that's it. This whole Sammy still in Jay's ear is a bit dead now. Like it's done. Do you know what I mean? What are we? Is that really meant to be the implosion of the Bloodline? To me, move on.
It has to be the one.
Imploding themselves. It doesn't need this guy constantly whispering in the ears. You've taken the title from me. We've kicked the fuck out of each other. We have no friendship. I chose my brother. Move on. Do you know what I mean? That's what I feel with that. But here's the question now. Omos is randomly like the biggest shock. Has everyone seen SmackDown? I know it's not for you, Dan, but have you two seen SmackDown?
I haven't seen the end of SmackDown.
Right. Have you seen the most random match announced ever from the Backlash?
No.
Almost
never
was
been in the
huge.
ring against.
Oh yeah.
Almost promo or anything. Yeah. Seth Rollins versus Omos. Random as fuck. How is that?
Yeah, I was like, where did that come from?
Prince is back.
He's not in charge. He's not in charge of creative, though. He really isn't in charge of creative, and I believe
he's not in charge of creative. But is he saying like, I want that match, make it happen? Like Hunter built the story around it. What the fuck are we meant to do? It's not that Omos built a legacy. Put it this way: if we were to go down booking, Omos beat Brock, was standing tall. He's taking another victim. Even another side, Brock beat Omos. Omos is pissed. While Seth was doing the chant, Omos comes out and fucks him up. Now we have a reason for this match because I am meant to be a star. Let him fuck around with stars. I'm actually scared for Omos because he's now going to be what I like to define as big for nothing. Because he's there, he's taking on people. He has not been relevant since he held a tag title with AJ Styles. Fact. Like it's
and he's big. He is big.
Yeah,
he is huge.
Omos is like he's a worse version of Great Khali. Not in his ability, not in his ability, but the way he's been booked. Yeah, because at least Great Khali was world champion and went on a tear. They should have done that with Omos if they wanted to get like the most out of his tallness. But now he's just gonna like fight these people and lose. So
I do believe what you just said, AJ, about Vince picking someone and go make that person a star. I do believe he's probably not booking, but suggesting I want that person to be a star. Going back from the CM Punk story when CM Punk stated he wanted to go over and beat Ryback and for him to beat the Shield, but don't beat Roman Reigns too bad. Don't let it too bad. But I want it to win, but not win like a dominant win over Roman because Roman's gonna be a star later. Years later, he is a star. But at that time, he picked that person to be the star. So that's what I see as right now with Omos. He's picked Omos. And
I hope you're right, honestly.
You know what? For me, I think Omos should be undefeated. For a person like that, yeah, he should be undefeated. Every match he's having, for the size or for however they're trying to put him over, he should be undefeated. Look at Jade Cargill. Undefeated. Look at how brilliant she looks. Undefeated, and then they're booking her right. They should have been doing the same thing with Omos.
See, the problem is, isn't it? Like they had Omos was undefeated, and that came to an end at the hands of Bobby Lashley. But then what happened with Bobby Lashley afterwards is the problem. He did that. He was not pushed towards the title. Yeah, he wasn't pushed towards a great big feud or a big event point happening in his career. No, it's just business as normal. So nobody's benefited from that. Yeah, you're quite right, Leon. He could have been still undefeated to this day. And so when Brock actually did that at WrestleMania, at least it was more of a point. Yeah, Brock claimed another scalp or something. Yeah, but even was that needed? It probably would have been best if it went the other way. If we were really trying to build a star, let's see some big guy squash Brock.
Yo, put Bobby and almost together. Put them together.
You're saying
Look
that
what,
from
look what it did for Rusev when they made him undefeated. He had an absolutely phenomenal run.
but then they killed that with Cena as well. And
They
again,
killed it with Cena, yeah.
Hence why Cena was getting booed. Nothing to do with the guy. He was just murdering people left, right, and center. He beat the entire he beat Nexus.
Yeah.
Ugh, never forgive him for that.
And that's the
Jericho
thing.
begged him
Nexus
not
had
to do that.
such an impact that they, as much as I love the Shield as a team, Nexus made the most impressive debut of any team, and then Cena just buried it. He joined them, and then he destroyed them internally in the worst way possible. And that's the thing about Nexus. Nexus could have built 5 to 6 different stars in one go. Each one had the potential to be a star and go further.
You know,
And, that would have been a new wave.
You know what pissed me off the most? That whole Nexus storyline, even more than Cena like squashing them, is Wade Barrett not becoming champion at Survivor Series when he should have. That pissed me off. That legitimately pissed me off.
Fact. But
And
this
don't
is
forget about Black Cena, that guy that was he looked like Cena but black. I can't remember who he was. I can't remember his name. Well, Darren Young. My God, spitting image of Cena.
But here's the thing. So here's the question of why I'm questioning like how positive it is. We talk Omos. Bronson Reed, I believe, is going into a feud with Lashley, which kind of makes sense because Lashley got stuck in the water with Bray Wyatt and then just became an Andre the Giant Battle Royal winner. Has Johnny Gargano gone back to NXT? Where is Tegan Knox? Like, where are some of these people? Bray Wyatt, I don't even know what's going on there, but Karrion Kross is just about building into something which I think is there. Madcap is in a purgatory.
Yeah. Who's that guy?
Yeah, LA Knight. LA Knight seems to be not in a good place. And again, I'm going to go back to the Omos thing. Like, he's literally the big guy who's just getting squashed by the main eventers, so he looks like nothing. I can't take him believably. So these stars that should have been built post-Mania, is there anyone we can truly say, whether it's Vince, whether it's Triple H, here's a standout star? Even Riddle being mixed with the tag team champs. What is happening with that?
LA Knight. I don't know what the guy looks like. Can't remember anything about him. But at Mania, that chant, yeah, people going crazy about it. Raw. You remember in the UK? What is the UK chant when you go into a thing? Woo! And woo! And woo! In the US, yeah, and wait, and you're in the background, yeah. That's the chant. Randomly, he wasn't on any Mania, he wasn't on Raw, but I kept hearing that all 3 days back to back. I heard that everywhere I went. On the train, we got out of the train to walk the thing, walking on the thing. We hear a yeah. We're like, I guess we're close.
But do you think that was because you was in LA?
What, LA Knight? Is he from LA?
Yeah.
It could have been, but a very international crowd.
I also think he is hot product. He's the one they're waiting to see elevate. And
it is, but they killed his chance. They needed to come and have, instead of some footballer that we don't give the slightest shit about, coming out and squashing Miz. We could have had that moment for LA Knight, and like again the whole crowd would pop. And to be honest, that would have carried over to Raw, would have carried over to SmackDown. Yeah, you would have made a star if you had LA come out, but no.
Funny enough, I said I was watching Raw in the 2006 and 2007 era, and LA Knight reminds me of Mr. Kennedy or Mr. Anderson in Impact, but he has that caliber where He's talented on the microphone. He's talented in the ring. You know, you put a championship on him, he could take it places. You see what I'm saying?
But
You notice how I said he can take the belt places. He's one of those guys who can take anything and make it important.
let us not forget, though, again, what Vince had planned for him. Because people are forgetting this before he become LA Knight again. Remember what Vince had planned for him? Maximum male models. So that's
Come
what
on.
he thinks of him. Yeah. Now, I don't know whether like Vince has any stroke around who he wants pushed or doesn't want pushed. But I can't see LA Knight, the former Maximum Dupree or whatever the hell he was called, going anywhere.
Max Dupree. But talking of this,
Is that LA Knight? Wow.
What's that?
I said, is that LA Knight? I'm surprised. Sorry.
Yeah. He's also the one who took on Bray Wyatt in the glow stick.
Oh, I didn't even see his face. I just saw a lot of glowing lights and popcorn. And why is the popcorn glowing? Yeah. Oh, yeah, by the way, the Americans love that match.
Fuck off.
They love that match. It was something different, y'all. It was something different. It was like, it was a spectacle. It looked awesome.
But maybe in the arena it didn't. But here's a question, and I don't want to like take a diss or what have you, AEW, but I need to ask this question, especially to the AEW viewers out there. Do you remember around the same time that Max Dupree was there and Beer Cat Keith Lee came up, he was meant to have Adam Cole as a manager? Why is Tony Khan trolling when he had Adam Cole come out to save Keith Lee? Because I saw that and I was like, but hold on, that's a WWE story that everyone was shitting on. It can't be great on the other side.
No. That's an NXT storyline. Basically, in it, like Keith Lee and Adam Cole have a big history in NXT. And like,
I've seen the feud. I've seen the pounce that sent him into the crowd.
Yeah,
but he looks like Keith Lee's manager right now.
No, but that's what we're trying to build off in it. Yeah, it's that whole NXT storyline. Like whether anyone remembers it or not, that's the bigger question.
Cool.
Right. Go back to your question that you asked at the start. I do believe Triple H is in charge. I think Triple H is getting told who Vince wants to be the main person. But Triple H, being Triple H, is going to make the product better. I believe in Triple H because the last thing I was watching religiously was NXT when it was the black and gold before it became the colorful thing and went back. It was really good. And the takeover shows were amazing.
Yep.
Triple H and his team around him, because he's got Shawn Michaels, he's got Road Dogg, he's got William Regal back. He hasn't got Dusty, which rest in peace. People like that around him that could do amazing things. So it ain't all on Triple H to make this happen. But I think going for the draft, and then it took months before anyone even started taking note of NXT. It might take a full calendar year for WWE to come back to a big standing where it was, but it's gonna grow. It has to grow. They're starting really low.
Grading on a curve, as Nico would say.
Shout out to Double V.
What curve is this?
Was there anything else to say, Big Time, on that?
Huh?
Was there anything else
on this point? Again, I couldn't agree with more what Dan really said. Like, I hope Triple H is in charge. I'm not 100% convinced because Gomez Adams is there. Like, even if he's not directly, he might be like sprinkling little things in that's making the show more shit. So like, we're just gonna have to see. I hope we get more of this Raw that we just had and less of the Raw after WrestleMania.
So, I mean, for me, in closing, it's really difficult because, as I said, I'm a person who has always respected Vince and backed him. However, when I saw Vince come back and I saw Stephanie leave, when I thought WWE was in a very positive position, and I remember we recorded because it all came at the same time that we got WWE pay-per-view in the UK, right? Like, it just felt like he's interfering because he's seeing stuff go good. Then I start seeing, to me, I start feeling bitter old man. I hate to say this about Vince. I just felt bitter old man. His product is doing good without him. He can't do it. And what I've always felt, should be a family business got sold on. And that still has me in a very weird position. Like, it's always been a McMahon company, you know? Yeah, they've had investors, but it's that. And now it's there. And what I feel was a positive, I'm kind of torn. I'm hearing positive and I want positive. It's too late to turn back the clock for it to be a McMahon-owned company. Yes, he's main shareholder of this new conglomerate that Endeavor have created. Cool. I've told people my blood type is WWE. I hope the absolute best for it. And that's the best. But my question to everybody before we move on to the next section, can the WWE survive with a mix of the Triple H vision and the Vince McMahon vision? Comment below. Would you want just the Vince vision? Would you want just a Triple H vision? What do you see going forward? Who would you like to see being pushed with these two?